Hey, Kutter, thanks for hanging out and listening to Hank Jr. on Hank's Corner.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Hank's Corner. I am Hank Jr., part of Hank Jr. Productions, where I'm documenting those life moments through photography, videography, and now podcasting. And as you know, I just recently put out my 100th episode of Hank's Corner. I want to thank all the artists who helped to make that possible. Thanks to you viewers who are watching me, whether on YouTube, Spotify, or any of the other streaming platforms. I hope you stick around for the next 100 because we're going to keep bringing the fastest rising stars, including this next guest. She is a singer, she's a songwriter, and she can attribute 100 million streams to her name. Please welcome the one and only Mary Kutter. Mary, how are you today?
Man, I'm doing awesome, and wow, congratulations on everything you're doing, Hank. That's incredible. Thanks for having me on your show.
Well, I'm glad that you did because, like I said, in the introduction, you got over 100 million streams, and we're going to talk a lot about that. You're doing really well, so thank you for coming into my little corner. And normally, this little corner is taking place in Tampa, Florida, but today they have me with my full-time regular job out in Jacksonville, so that's where I'm coming from today. But where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Nashville, Tennessee, literally right off of Music Row. I can see all the publishing houses right at my window.
Oh, okay. So next time I'm up there, I'm just going to get lost when I have too many drinks and I might end up at your apartment.
Honestly, you're right about there. You know what I'm saying? You can throw a rock and hit a bar.
That's pretty cool. Lucky you. But how long have you been living there now?
Man, it's kind of crazy. I'm at 5 years now. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Time flies.
It does. And when you have so many hits that are coming out, that kind of helps bring things a little faster.
I mean, I've been real blessed. I'm having a blast. You never know. That's what I think is so cool about this business. And you know this, Hank. You never know what's going to happen with a song, and we're all planting seeds and we're hoping they sprout. And sometimes they do. Sometimes they're baby sprouts. Sometimes they're big oak trees. You never know, though.
Right. But you're originally from Kentucky, correct?
That is right.
And what part of Kentucky is that?
I'm from the central part, a little town called Springfield, and it's what they call the Bourbon Trail. So just about every Kentucky bourbon is made within like 30 minutes of, the farm that I grew up on with my family. But it's a beautiful place. I love it.
Oh, so you got all the good places. I mean, you're right there next to Music Row. Before that, you're on Bourbon Trail. I mean, I see a little
the Lord just kind of paved the way, I think, for all the country music. I never thought about it that way, Hank. You're not wrong, though.
I see the theme. And I've actually never really spent any time in Kentucky. I'm hoping to spend a week there this summer as my daughter, she's going to be playing at the National Baseball Tournament for girls. Now, she normally plays with boys, and this will be the first time she'll actually get to play with girls. But while we're up there, we're definitely going to make a vacation out of it.
Where are y'all going, Louisville or Lexington?
So it's going to be E-Town is what I heard it's called, Elizabethtown. Yeah, just south of Louisville there.
Hank, I got to tell you, the best, I don't know if y'all like Chinese food or not, but the best Chinese restaurant ever that I've ever been to is in Elizabethtown. It's called Green Bamboo. It's been open for over 40 years. It's a little couple that owns phenomenal. It's like a sit-down restaurant. Not too pricey, but delicious.
Okay, well, we'll definitely have to check that out because 3 out of the 4 people that are left in our family at home like Chinese food. The fourth one, I'm sorry, Jackson, but you might have to find something else to eat that day. So we'll definitely have to try it out. Now, I mean, I want to back up a little bit. We're going to end up playing your more recent song in just a moment. But the fact that we're talking about Kentucky and Nashville, you recently put out a 3-song album called 180. And the reason for that, you said it was 180 miles from your farm to the doorstep. How cool is that?
It is kind of crazy. Whenever I was trying to figure out what I wanted to name this EP, I was thinking, it's so the project as a whole, there's 3 songs on it, like you said, but they're nostalgic and it talks a lot about home and your roots. And I was thinking, well, how could we tie this in? And it's also about doing a 180 through hard times. basically picking up the pieces and going on with your life, right? And then I realized it was 180 miles. I was like, it is meant to be.
Yeah, you see, everything just seems to kind of line up there for you.
Trying, you know what I mean? I mean, it's a lot of coffee a lot of coffee, Hank, and then the pieces come together.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes you just have to be in the right spot at the right time, but that's not to take away from your talent because, you know, I've always said that, you know, you got to have a little bit of luck in the business, but you have to have that talent already there for when the luck does show up.
That's for sure. Who said that quote? It's a famous quote about how you get more lucky whenever you're putting more lucky to hit lightning or something if you're putting more rods in the ground or something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about? And so I try to approach it that way because this is the thing. We don't have control over things we don't have control over, like luck. But, you know, we can work hard and, you know, hope for the best, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, the fact that you brought up lightning, that makes an easy segue into your most recent song, which we'll get back to 180 and we'll play that later on in the podcast. But your more recent song is Storm Chasers. And that just recently came out. So tell us a little bit about that one.
Oh man, I had such a fun time writing that song. I do really like savage and sassy songs for my own artistry, but this one's a little bit different. It kind of casts the blame on both parties. Neither one is fully innocent. It's basically about, you know what, I'm a tornado, you're a hurricane, or vice versa, but you know what, we keep on chasing the drama. You know, I guess we kind of like it, we're storm chasers. And it was really fun to write, and it's been really cool to see how people resonate with it.
Yeah, and I think that when you say as far as people resonated with it, I think everybody's well, you know, it's really taken off. I think a lot of people kind of, you know, feel what you're trying to put out there, and you know, it seems to be moving pretty quickly. Are you happy with the song's progress?
I really am, and you know, it's kind of cool too. I mean, gosh, I feel like, you know, I definitely have been releasing a lot of music this year, and I mean, I'm going to keep on as long as people are enjoying the music, and it's just been really cool. But I will be real with you. I'm a creator at heart, and once I write the song and I'm recording it, usually I'm kind of thinking about the next song idea that you know what I'm saying? That's probably bad. I do realize that. Right before hopping on for our interview, I was on the treadmill and I was listening to songs that I've written this past week. And it's just, I get so excited. And I think a lot of it is to, you know, you kind of have this anticipation. Whenever you write a song, you feel like it's special. It's kind of your baby, but then you get to put it out in the world. You get to see how people, you know, if they like it, if they don't like it, you know, that's okay either way. But, you know, it is part of the process.
Yeah, and don't change because, you know, Nashville and then from Nashville to the rest of the world, we're liking your energy. So keep that coming. Just, you know, keep plugging it out. And we're going to go ahead and play Storm Chasers here on Hank's Corner.
Some would probably say we don't mix. Some might even say we're toxic. Watch my eyes when you walk in. Hell, there might as well be sirens. Now it's too late, we can't control it. The night's on fire, the clouds are loaded. Your lips touch mine and we start riding the thunder and the lightning. Tornado dancing with the hurricane. Blue skies like white, gotta make it rain. That aftermath, we leave it our path. Correct a couple Kansas acres, couple break it then fix it later. Storm chasers, storm chasers. You should probably tell me goodbye, and I should get lost in new eyes. Anything to break the cycle, but running from this ain't our style. Tornado dancing with the hurricane. Blue skies like white, gotta make it rain. That aftermath, we leave it our path. Correct a couple Kansas acres, couple break it then fix it later. Storm chasers, storm chasers.
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. I am Hank Jr. here with my special guest, Mary Kutter, and you just heard her most recent song, Storm Chasers. Now, I want you to take me back. When did you start, getting interested in the music, and when did you say, hey, I'm going to make this a career, and then even take the big leap to make it to Nashville?
Man, that's a good question, honey bun. It's kind of crazy looking back. I feel like I hear so many different stories about people get into the music, and a lot of them from the moment they came out of the womb, I feel like they were doing music professionally. I kind of was the opposite. My family's very musical. They're very talented, but nobody in my family did music or anything close to it, professionally. They just, my mom is a teacher. My dad owns his own business, and I grew up really active in church and different, like the 4-H club and different school groups. And when I was in high school, I started getting, solos at school and at church, and things just kind of just went from one thing to another. I started being asked to sing at a fair or a ball game, a festival, and doors started opening that way. But it never crossed my mind, although I was just 2.5 hours away from Nashville, which you would think it would have crossed my mind, but it did not. But fast forward, I was playing at a festival. This was right after I graduated. And I met a guy who owned 2 radio stations and a TV station right outside of Louisville, Kentucky. And long story short, he wanted to start a music variety show, kind of like what you're doing, but not. Basically, I would have different guests on. They would sing. I would sing as well to open and close the show. And it was a weekly gig. And I said yes. And that decision right there totally changed my life. And because we would have different artists from Nashville come on the show on their radio tour. We'd have different hit writers come on and play their hits. And I started writing with different folks that had been on the show. And I'd never done songwriting before, but they'd be on the set. They'd be like, hey, do you songwrite? And I'd be like, well, I have in my bedroom before, but that's about it. But I said yes. I started coming back and forth from Nashville to my hometown. And before I knew it, it was kind of like the fairs and the festivals thing. You're writing with one person, and they're like, oh, man, you got to write with my friend Sally. And you write with Sally. Oh, man, you got to write with my friend John, whoever, And things just started growing, and I was here all the time. And so it was scary, though. I got to be real, because I'm really close to my family, and it sounds like you're a family person, too. And but I kind of, it dawned on me that, a lot of doors had opened and gotten me to this point, and it definitely wasn't something I necessarily planned on, but I mean, gosh, like I feel really, really, really blessed. And the time's flown by since I've been here. When I first moved here, though, I took a job. You were talking about the bars earlier. I was hosting different writers' nights at the different bars, and that, I'll tell you what, that was a crash course in songwriting. That's when I really saw, man, everyone's talented. Everyone's beautiful. Everyone has good songs, But then I started seeing good isn't great and great isn't excellent, And I remember one of the shows I was hosting down here in Nashville in Midtown. It was at Tin Roof. And I did that show. I ended it right before COVID, and then the world shut down. So I did it for 10 months, and I had just under 500 different people play. Okay, so like not repeats, okay? We'd have 12 people on every week. And I remember during that span of time, and I'm being totally real with you, Hank, I'd count on one hand of people that I didn't think were that great. But then on the other hand, I could count the people that really stood out. And it's been kind of crazy seeing this hand people, a lot of them have taken off, and which is really cool, and I don't think there's, any one specific thing that was like, whoa, that's the it factor, but they definitely all had something special. But it was during that time that, I started buckling down and writing a whole bunch. And then when COVID hit, we were all at home, and I was doing Zoom sessions all the time writing. And that's when doors started really, starting to crack open a little bit. I won't say they kicked down or anything, but they started cracking open a little bit. We're like, ooh, what's in this room?
Yeah. And we're definitely going to talk a little bit more about the songwriting process and all the stuff that you've been a part of in the next segment. But, this part of your career sounds like, you're just like a spark on dry grass. And the next thing you know, it just turns into a wildfire. And, you're just kind of, I guess, fanning the flames as you continue to put stuff out. But, you talked about your, variety show, very similar to this, but not. And in a way, I'm glad that it's not, because nobody wants to hear me singing. There's no way that I'm going to be doing that. So I can't compete with that. And the 500 guests that you were talking about up on stage, I'll be, so honored if I ever get it to 500. But as far as musical instruments when you were little, did you pick that up? Was that something that you did, or you just preferred to sing?
Man, I'll tell you what, I do have a regret in my life. And that is that I did not take my piano lessons very seriously. My mama, she signed my brother and me up to take weekly piano lessons. I was 6 years old, so I should be very good. But I was really good at distracting my piano teacher who had cats. I'd be like, oh, Miss Janine, can I see the cats? Blah, blah. And like, she was great. She taught me as much as she could teach me. The ball is not on her. But I will say that I guess during that time, though, I used to really enjoy making up piano parts rather than playing what was on the sheet in front of me. That should have been an indicator. But then fast forward, I played flute in high school. Started picking up guitar and dabbling, play a little bit of fiddle. But, I will say that it's always been words and stories, and I guess just singing, that's my favorite thing.
Okay. And as far as influences, tell me about the influences that you had growing up, people that you admired out there on stage and, kind of contributed to want to be a performer.
I'll tell you, my all-time favorite is Elvis Presley. I mean, man, he just, I hope one day I get to meet him upstairs. You know what I'm saying? And I think that
I'm glad you added that, because some people still believe he's around.
that would be a plot twist in this interview. Like, oh no, she's one of those. But I'll say that, man, he just had it all. He obviously, amazing voice. You really believed what he's saying, and a great performer, gorgeous, obviously, but he also had a great ear for songs, and anyway, I love Elvis. We could have a full discussion about Elvis. Anyway, love Dolly. I think J-Lo is pretty great. I think that her level of focus, and just a side note, not a musician, but I'll tell you someone I've really just been so obsessed with lately, and I've just been gobbling up any information I can read about him. He's not even a musician. It's Tom Brady. I love his level.
Speaking about Tampa down here.
That's right, sugar. And I'll tell you what, though, like, his discipline, I just think it's incredible. That inspires me so much. And so, because this is the thing, in my opinion, like we said earlier, everybody's talented. And that includes the folks that are just music lovers, but maybe they're not writing songs. We're all creative, And I really do believe that. And I'm just lucky enough that I get to do it every day for a job, I get to write songs for a living, which is so bizarre. People where I'm from do not do that. You know what I'm saying? I feel very blessed. But I'll tell you, discipline, I just really respect that.
Okay. And, like I said, we're going to talk about the songwriting in a moment when we come back.
Mama tried to teach me to be humble and kind. Said follow your arrow and walk the line. Live like you were dying, 'cause days go by. Hear wisdom on my radio dial. It's the house that built me, red silver cup. When I hear the good ones, yeah, turn it up. Throwing back, aching hearty is my kind of party. Got friends in the places and wide open spaces. Turn me home to Delta Dawn. I swear it's crazy how I get gone. I turn on a country song. The world is a wild one up and down. When it rains it pours, so I crank it loud and cruise through God's country to the song of the South. Find heaven like I know how. It's the house that built me, red silver cup. When I hear the good ones, yeah,
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. You just heard Mary Kutter. As far as songwriting, I really want to talk about this because, I had Erica Sunshine Lee on my podcast not too long ago, and man, she has written over, several thousand songs. And you kind of remind me of her because you've got a lot of music out there. Tell me, who are some of the people that you've written for that we might recognize?
Oh, absolutely. And by the way, I've only heard great things about that gal. So I'm really glad she was on your show. A lot of great energy, I'm sure. But anyway, I've written with a bunch of folks. I've been real blessed to have cuts with people like Bailey Zimmerman, Nate Smith, Alexandra Kay. Man, there's been others too. Chris Housman, I have several cuts with him. I've had some music and TV shows and movies, and the most random thing was a U.S. Postal Service commercial that happened last year. I was not expecting that, but the catalog, all the songs that I've been able to be a part of for other folks or other projects, with TV and film, it's kind of just a variety. But I really feel blessed to just, get the finger paint on and just kind of go crazy with whatever they're envisioning.
Right. And you mentioned Alexandra Kay. She was just down in Tampa last week from when we were actually recording this. And, many know that I, filmed her when we were out there in St. Louis doing Freedom Jam. And, something that we do every year to give back to the veterans and the emergency responders, that sort of thing. And she is definitely one that's blown up. But I want to talk about, I read something somewhere that I guess that's what love is. And
Yes.
tell me about that project, because it sounded like you wrote something having to do with a wedding.
That's right. Man, I'll tell you what. That's my second cut out with Alexandra. The first time I wrote with her was Tall Boys, which she put out whenever she went on the Tim McGraw tour. Well, then fast forward, she gave me a holler, and her producer, Andrew Capra, her and me, we got in the room, and she told us she had been working on this idea for, I want to say she said 4 years, but she was like, I know what I want it to be, but I'm not totally sure how do we fit together all the puzzle pieces, right? And it was the story of her and her now husband. And she wanted to write a wedding song. And man, I'll tell you what's so wonderful, one of the things, there's lots of things, because she's very talented, but Alexandra, she has such a great vision. Whenever you get in the room with her, I love it. I think it's phenomenal. She's like, yes, no, yes, no. I mean, that's a great skill. Like, truly, it doesn't sound that dramatic, but it really is, because she had, for this song specifically, like, she knew exactly what she wanted it to sound like. And I think that, that's why it turned out so special. And it was her story. And she wanted to write a wedding song that wasn't just about the beautiful butterflies and roses and all that and rainbows. She wanted to talk about that they have been through hard stuff as well. And that's part of what love is. And let's toast to that as well, on our wedding day. And it's a cool concept. I felt lucky to be in the room.
Yeah, and she's kind of had that thing with another song where she's talking about we wouldn't be us if, we didn't have all this other stuff.
You're right.
And so that's pretty cool, because like you said, it is a different a way of thinking about it, because it doesn't just sugarcoat things and, lovey-dovey country music song, but it does bring a little real life into it. And how awesome was that to be able to do that?
I felt really honored, to be honest. She didn't have to bring me in for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a really vulnerable, personal song, and when an artist trusts you with something like that, I just think that's really special. It's really special.
Now, tell me a little bit about your songwriting process. Is it just kind of crazy? It may be one thing one day and another thing another day, or do you have a formula on how you write songs?
Well, I have a formula for what I do that I have control over before I get to the write. And I have a pretty set morning routine. I get up at 6 a.m. I write several pages, just stream of conscious. I read, I get ready, drink my coffee, do the whole thing. So then when I show up, I'm game for whatever they're wanting, right? And it does start different ways. I have found that a lot of sessions with artists, I'm pulled in for specific things. Like Alexandra, that was a great example. Like we were talking earlier, she knew, the first time I got pulled in, they were looking for her show opener, and her producer and I are buddies. And he was like, Mary's the one we got to pull in. That's why I got pulled in. And then the wedding song, so we knew what we were writing for very specifically. But I'll tell you, like the song Wreckage with Nate Smith, we kind of knew, Nate and I talked before the session, kind of what he was looking for. He wanted a vulnerable love song and a life-changing song, like just something big, just a big epic song. And but that's kind of all we had, you know what I'm saying, moving in. So we with that session, I want to say we did some freestyling melodically, but sometimes it's titles. The cool thing is every single session's totally like a snowflake. It's totally unique. You know what I mean? You're never going to totally replicate it, even with the same people. That's, I don't know, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I always like to ask that question, because I always like to hear how other people do it. And like you said, like a snowflake, every artist that I've had on here talks about it a whole different way. Do you remember the first song that you ever wrote?
Yes, I do.
Tell us a little bit about that.
I remember I was a little kid and I didn't even know I was writing a song, but I was playing outside with my dog Sparky. And I don't think I've ever told this story, like in an interview, I've told friends. But anyway, I don't remember all the words to it, but I do remember the top part of the melody. It was a dumb little song. I was just playing out in our yard. But it was like, da, ba, ba, da, da, ba, ba, da, ba, ba, ba. It was like super simple, super poppy. And I just remember I was singing it to my dog. Obviously, no, the rest of the world never heard it, but that would be, I think, the first official song. Okay. 9-year-old Mary.
And that's cool, because sometimes people remember that, sometimes they don't, and sometimes they just don't because they're trying to forget about it and to say, man, I was really bad.
That's what I should do. Not gonna lie, but I'll tell you, Sparky liked the song. She was a very biased source, but
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool, because I've had guests that also sing the horses and that sort of thing. So, hey, it doesn't just have to be people. It could be animals that like it too. But I want to go ahead and play a fun song called Mississippi Votes Blue. When we come back, we're going to have some more fun.
Let's do it.
When Kentucky stops racing horses, Mississippi votes blue. Nebraska ain't growing corn. Texas don't serve barbecue. Georgia quits playing football. Missouri's got an ocean view. Honey, that's when I wanna be with you. When Tennessee don't sing country and Arizona ain't hot. When Delaware's got polar bears and there's a desert in Vermont. South Dakota tears Mount Rushmore down. New Jersey ain't got its shore. Washington's dry, hella dry from New Hampshire to Utah short. When Nevada quits playing blackjack, Florida ain't in the news. Bama don't shout roll tide, Louisiana ain't got bayous. Wyoming shuts down the rodeos, Maryland don't serve seafood. Honey, that's when I wanna be with you. When you can't find snow in Alaska, roller coasters in Ohio. Arkansas's all beach, Kansas ain't got weed, and in Michigan you don't buy coats. Rhode Island's bigger than Minnesota, Wisconsin don't got cheese. Ain't suburb kids in Connecticut, and they don't surf in Hawaii. When West Virginia ain't got their coal mines, and New York ain't Babe Ruth. Maine ain't catching lobsters, New Mexico bans hot air balloons. Pennsylvania ain't got chocolate, North Carolina shuts down Duke. Honey, that's when I wanna be with you. Oh, when Illinois stops claiming Abraham Lincoln, Oregon floats out into the sea, and California don't make movies anymore. There's palm trees growing in Massachusetts, and Iowa's the spot for jungle cruises. In South Carolina, summers ain't that warm. When Idaho don't grow potatoes, Virginia don't support our troops, Colorado ain't that high, Indiana stopped shooting hoops, hey, Oklahoma loses their cowboys, and North Dakota has a typhoon. Honey, that's when I wanna be with you. When Montana ain't got mad into DC politicians, tell the truth. Honey, that's when I wanna be with you.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. here with my special guest, Mary Kutter. Now, this last part, I always like to talk about, kind of different fun things. And, one of the things that I had saw for your cover art is that you said that you had designed the clothing for that cover art. Tell me a little bit about that. Is that something you do on a regular basis?
I don't get to do it enough. I used to really sew a lot back in high school and middle school. And for a while, I kind of thought that might be what I would go into. It is kind of like instructing a song too, really. You have the vision. Sometimes you have a pattern. Sometimes you make it. But yeah, I just had a really good time doing that. That wasn't totally planned. And I was like, man, you know what? If we're going to go all the way with this super artsy project, let's make the outfit too. It was really cool.
Okay. And keeping along with that theme, I always like, as a photographer, videographer, and everything else that I do, I'm one of the ones that like to promote other ones. I don't get cutthroat like some of the other people in the business. I love promoting. So who does your cover art when they're doing the photography?
I mean, normally it's just my iPhone. Actually, I'll be
Wow.
totally real with you. Everything's been my iPhone. And literally, like, there's sometimes timers, sometimes it's on my ring light. Sometimes I have a friend take it. I mean, it's like literally so chill at this point.
And that's cool that you can do that. I'll give you props, but at the same time, it scares me. Even though it is just my side gig that I do, it scares me that a lot more people on that iPhone are going to take away from a lot of things that photographers normally do.
I'll say though, Hank, like, I think that you can never replace someone that's truly a professional with that kind of thing. You know what I mean? I think that it's one of those situations that there's just different. If I was going to be, it also kind of depends on what the vibe you're going with, and it's something that I've really been doing, at least with these releases this year. They've all kind of been like this, almost like a Polaroid-esque energy, which it was very purposeful. Now, if I was trying to go for a really sleek situation, I'd be like, hello, Hank, are you free for a photography situation? You know what I mean? And so I think it kind of depends on what you're actually trying to create, but yeah.
Yeah, well, half of Nashville, I wish it was half of Nashville. They know when I do come up, I'm always doing complimentary photo shoots. So if you ever need one, by all means,
awesome.
let me know. And as far as other hobbies, okay, I know all the artists are super busy because they like you're saying, you're practicing, you're writing, you're listening to other stuff. But aside from maybe designing, what are some of your hobbies that you're into?
I love to read. I love TV. I know that sounds really bad. I know that's a very unpopular thing to say, but I love movies. I love TV. I just love it. And I love taking walks and family time. That's like probably the majority. And I love food. Let's be real. But who doesn't love food?
And that's good because I always bring food onto the podcast. So, should I go up to Nashville? Well, I'm hoping to make it up there again this summer. What are some of the maybe hidden spots that, obviously there's the Nashville chicken that's really great, but what are some of the hidden spots that maybe I should try this time?
It kind of depends, obviously, what you love, but I will say that, this is a more healthy option. So if you feel like going kind of healthy for a meal, like a breakfast or a lunch, man, I'll tell you what, Grain and Berry's great, although that may technically be a chain, but their acai bowls are out of this world. I'll tell you, San Yeho, their tacos, double chef's kiss, delicious. What's your favorite food? Oh, I know one more thing I got to make sure I say is Desano's pizza. Oh my gosh. Hank, it's so good. But I got to be real with you. And I had a friend that told me this. And I was like, oh, come on. There's no way this is true. Then I saw he was telling the truth. Okay. Desano's, the way their recipe is with their pizza, truly, you have like a 3-minute window to eat the pizza. Truly. It's not like other pizzas where it's good left over or good reheated. Like truly, like it's. And the friend that told me used to work there. It's their actual recipe where it's how they make the dough and the sauce. There's something with it, but when you put it in your mouth right out of that oven, it is truly the best pizza you've ever had. Like truly out of this world.
Interesting. And then after 3 minutes, it kind of just self-destructs. Kind of like a little spy pizza.
Does. I mean, it's fine then. You know what I mean? It's fine. And whenever I first moved to town, I've been in a session where we got Desano's takeout. And I remember it came cold, which is whatever, you know, and we reheated. I thought, this isn't very good. Like, everyone talks about how good Desano's is. So I didn't have it for years. Then I had the conversation with my friend. I was like, okay, I'll give it one more shot. I had it, and it's just so good. But you got to have it right when it comes out of the oven. It is a game changer. Now,
I'm curious. I'd like to maybe get 2 slices. Do one that's not, within the 3 minutes, and then one with, and do a little comparison myself.
You really should. You really should. Now, once you taste the fresh out of the oven, you're like, I cannot waste a slice, but it would be an interesting experiment.
Okay, yeah, definitely try that. And so one of the things I always like to talk about is playlists. You know, obviously you're on the Hank's Corner guest playlist, and you know I've been listening to you before I added you on the playlist. But who is currently on your playlist right now?
Man, I'll tell you what, my on repeat on my Spotify is kind of sporadic. Obviously, I do listen, to a lot of Morgan Wallen, but Swaco, who's a great rock artist, totally bizarre. I listen to a lot of rap. Actually, a lot of Lil Wayne. I'm actually seeing him in concert next week. I'm really excited about it. I've never seen him in concert before, and I was going to go right before COVID. So then the concert got canceled. So I'm really excited about that. So I've been waiting for years, literally. But, I mean, gosh, who else do I listen a lot to? J-Lo. I listen to a lot of pop, to be honest. And probably some of that is from writing mostly country all day.
Yeah, I got to get that little variation there.
Yes, and someone I've just recently gotten into is Warren Ziders. I love you just really believe what he's singing. You really believe it. And he has a great voice. But there's something about, I don't know if it's the rasp or the grit. I don't know, but it's great.
Okay. And since you're a songwriter, I'm going to ask it this way. Given the opportunity to write a song for anybody that you could, who would be on the top of your list or the top couple?
Wow. People that are popping right now?
It could be anybody. Who would you enjoy to write for, even past or present?
Well, of all time, I would have to say Elvis, obviously, like the king. But currently, man, it'd be so cool to get a Bad Bunny cut. Because he's huge worldwide. Huge, Now, I have done some investigative research, and at this point in time, he's not really singing anything in English. So everything's in Spanish. So I don't know if that's in the cards for me at this point in time because I only speak English. But anyway,
Google Translate.
Bad Bunny, if you're watching this, I think it's time for you to do some Spanglish, and I am here for it.
Okay, well, if he's watching this, then I'm going to be happy that he's tuning in.
Cool.
Now, as far as you performing out there, if somebody were to come to a Mary Kutter performance, what should they expect?
Man, a lot of energy.
I could not have guessed that.
And I just love having a good time, and a lot of the music that I've been dropping. Obviously, there's some ballads, but most of them, they got a little bit of sassafras energy. We keep it moving, and I think whenever I play live, I want it to be a party.
Okay. And what is left for you? I mean, we still got plenty of time in 2023, but what is left for you this year?
Oh, man, there's a lot of music that's going to be coming. A lot of music. I just got a mix on it's a straight up rock country song. As rock-ish as it can be. I posted the demo of it, just a couple lines on TikTok a couple weeks ago, and it blew up, went viral. And I was like, man, okay. And it was really cool seeing different people make videos with the song, which is just super cool. I think that in some ways means more than streams or views or any of that stuff, because they're truly enjoying it. You know what I mean? Right. If someone's making a lip syncing video with your song, that's just, I don't know, that's really cool. But anyway, I'm going to be dropping that soon. Dropping a couple more songs in the next 6 weeks, really. But just writing and, trying to create music that folks enjoy.
Okay, and as you know, I'm definitely going to be including those songs on my new Music Friday post there on my Hank Jr. Productions Facebook page. But everybody that's watching, if you haven't already checked out Mary Kutter, you've been living under a rock. But if you can go out and check her out on all the social medias, apparently TikTok, she's going viral there. But you could also catch her at marykutter.com, and that's Kutter Kutter. Mary, I definitely appreciate you coming on the show and taking the time. It's been such a blast talking to you. And of course, anytime you ever want to be a guest on Hank's Corner, you're more than welcome to.
Man, I had a blast too. You are a rock star, and I sure appreciate you.
Honey, eat dirt, that's all you deserve. That knife you twisted in my back couldn't been deeper. Now you're trying to waltz in, I know where your boots been. Ain't your floor to stomp on no more. If you think I miss you, well I don't. If you think I need you, well I don't. I'd rather be caught dead than to let you in again. Do I think about you? I don't. Try and call me, don't say you're sorry. I'm busy making moves, I do it like Dolly. So but step it on back when you're throwing this back. But it don't feel bad that you did me so bad. I moved on like one, two, and they asked me about you, what I think about you. I say I don't. If you think I miss you, well I don't. If you think I need you, well I don't. I'd rather be caught dead than to let you in again. Do I think about you? I don't. No. Don't it hurt now? Come back round. Make me scream it out loud. Scream it out loud. Don't call me, don't say you're sorry. I'm busy making moves, I do it like Dolly. Yeah. If you think I miss you, well I don't. If